Hi there, and thanks for joining me for this week's edition of your Wheel and Anchor weekly newsletter. Coming to you finally from back home here in Canada. I'm actually up in Algonquin Park in central Ontario, enjoying what will hopefully be a few days of beautiful summer weather here in the spectacular nature that this part of central Ontario has to offer. But this week's newsletter is all about France and our upcoming series of programs there that is happening this upcoming spring. We have 3 programs that we are going to be releasing this week. One of them we actually released in last week's newsletter, Corsica, but webinars for a series of 3 back-to-back programs in France next spring that are happening this coming Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And I'll give you a little bit of an overview of all these. You know, France, I think, is obviously right up there with Italy and the UK among the top destinations for travelers in Canada. Personally, I love France. I love, of course, the culture and the cuisine, but I also like the people for their strong will, their desire to stand up for the philosophies things they believe in, and it's it manifests itself in ways that we've all read about in the newspaper in recent weeks and months, and so perhaps not always necessarily in a positive way, but at the same time, I have a certain respect and appreciation for the French and for the way that they just don't stand for things that they don't believe are right for them and their country. And of course, it's a controversial topic, and I'd love to talk with you about it, and maybe we'll do that on one of these upcoming trips. And as I mentioned, we have 3 slated for this coming spring of next year. The first one is our sojourn across Corsica. And Corsica, although obviously a department of France, is very distinct in its culture and its society. In fact, Corsicans are very proud people, and in some ways have more in common with their closer neighbors in Italy. The island itself is absolutely stunning. Mountain ranges, incredible coastline, and again, a very unique culture and tradition that reflects itself, of course, in the amazing food that you can find there, but also in terms of some of the sites that we'll be seeing as we cross the island. It's a 2-stop program. We're going to be spending some days in Porto Vecchio in the southern part of the island to explore some of the amazing as I say, mountains and villages up in the mountains, as well as up in Bastia in the north part of the island, where we get to explore the incredible Cap Corse, the peninsula that juts out from the north of Corsica. The program will be preceded by our sojourn in Sardinia. So if you're looking to get away in the spring and visit 2 of the Mediterranean's islands that are somewhat unexplored by Canadians, you can do Sardinia, followed immediately by Corsica. And then right after Corsica, we take the overnight ferry from Bastia to Toulon in the southern part of France, and we do our Provence sojourn program, which starts in Nice, of course, on the Côte d'Azur, a magnificent Belle Époque city that hardly needs any introduction. So we'll visit Nice and some of the beautiful surrounding towns like Saint-Paul-de-Vence and Grasse, the world home of perfume. Following our Provence, our Nice section of our program, we'll head up to Forcalquier in Haute-Provence. We'll see some of the lovely towns around Luberon and the villages that the so-called High Provence is well known for, before culminating in another beautiful little town near Avignon, where we get to see the famous Papal Palace and some of the region of where Châteauneuf-du-Pape, the famous red wine, comes from. That is all in our really amazing program through Provence and the Côte d'Azur. And then following that, we will return again to Languedoc-Roussillon in southwestern France and cruise along the Canal du Midi. We did that last year. We had an absolute blast in our lovely houseboats that we all manned ourselves, and many of our members took their own hand at the wheel as we cruised up 42 locks. And this time we're going to be doing it in reverse. From last year, we're going to be starting in Agde, which is close to the Mediterranean in the southern part of Languedoc, and heading from there over the course of a week all the way up to Carcassonne, one of the best preserved medieval towns in Europe. And so again, that program will follow Provence and the Côte d'Azur, which follows as well Corsica. Lots in store, an amazing series of trips in France. So if you've ever thought about traveling to one or any of these, we hope you'll join us this coming May. And you can find out more about all of them in our webinars Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It's all about France this week. So lots more in store. In the meantime, I'm going to go and maybe take a dip in the lake here and enjoy a little bit of what Canadian summer is all about. Look forward to catching up with you again next week.